Okay, Laura, you can go ahead. Okay, well, good afternoon. Thank you for coming today. My name is Nicole. I am the Director of Distance Learning for Triton. It's a new position, so I am super excited to be here with you. And I just want to take some time to walk you through the overall process in case you are interested in, at some point, developing an online course or a hybrid course. So I walked around and I handed out a small packet. I'm a note taker by trade, so I like to extend that opportunity to others as well. You are under no obligation to take notes, but if you want to, you can jot things down and follow along as we go. So we're going to start by defining distance learning here at Triton. There are 3 recognized modalities. The first one is an enhanced course. Basically, with an enhanced course, everyone here that teaches a course, a face-to-face course, you get a Blackboard Learn Ultra shell that goes with it. So an enhanced course could essentially just be used for you to upload supplemental resources. It can be used to have your syllabi or anything else you think students might want to know. There is no approval needed by the CTE at all for an enhanced course. It's up to you whether you want to use it or not. A hybrid course, on the other hand, is a combination of both face-to-face and online components. With a hybrid course, a minimum of 50 to 74% of the course takes place online. So that could be asynchronous without you via Blackboard. The remaining percentage would be face-to-face. So in some instances, some faculty like to have their first meeting face-to-face with everyone, then they go online for a few weeks, then they might come together for another face-to-face lab or presentations or anything like that. That's an option. And then the third modality is a fully 100% asynchronous course online. Asynchronous means that you post your information, all the interaction, everything takes place randomly online. And I say randomly because there are no planned meetings. With an online course, you can, of course, have office hours, but you cannot mandate any face-to-face meetings with your students. In a case like this with online courses, I teach online courses for 3 different universities. They're all 100% asynchronous. I open up modules once per week, and I communicate with my students through emails, through announcements, through grading assignments, and so on. So let's talk a little bit about why we would even want to do distance learning.
I'm sorry, but back to the hybrid.
Yep.
Did you say that it's asynchronous on the online part, or is it synchronous?
It's asynchronous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
You can probably, work something out with your students, but traditionally, hybrid, when they are off-site, is asynchronous.
Okay, cool.
So some benefits. So the biggest thing that we're finding with research is that students want more flexibility in their learning options. Not too long ago, in 2022, McKinsey and Company gave a survey out to over 7,000 students, and 65% of the students surveyed said that they want some aspect of their learning to be virtual. More recently, this year, Quality Matters put out a survey where they talked to chief online learning officers, and 77% of them said that their campus-based students were asking for more online offerings. So this is something that's not going to go away. A little bit closer to home, here at Triton, I took a look at the Spring 2021 Course Modality Survey. Now, keep in mind, this survey was geared toward emergency learning, when everybody was out for the pandemic. But what I took away from this is that even after the emergency closing, they still wanted online. And these are some of the comments that I pulled from them. It's better for students with full-time jobs. So 75% of Triton's student base is part-time, which means that there's probably a really good chunk of those students that also have other responsibilities, including full-time jobs. Online distance learning gives them the option to manage both of those successfully. It's also more convenient for single parents or families. In some instances, daycare can be crazy expensive, so it relieves that burden, and it also allows them the ability to focus after hours when it's more convenient from them. A side note about the after hours, during the pandemic, I had worked for a state board of education grant program and had a lot of contacts with K-12 teachers. The high school teachers in particular talked about how the younger ones, I should say, they would be online at 11, 12 o'clock at night, and their students would ping them as they were up asking questions. They learn differently. A lot of them learn in untraditional hours as well. So distance learning is more convenient for them. Some of them have caretaker responsibilities, taking care of parents, taking care of other relatives as well. So having the ability to go onto an online course when it's convenient for this responsibility eases that burden for them. This is a big one for me. It's the ability to create multiple sections of the same course so more students can enroll. Now, one of the graduate programs that I work for, every single spring, I get a full section full, of course, of students, and I get frantic emails. I'm supposed to graduate in 3 months. I need to take this class to graduate. And then I'm stuck with the burden of course, not saying no, but then the next thing I know, my class list is up to 28 students. So having multiple sections of the same course allows the students the option to stay on track with their programs. It gives a potential for increased courses in the summer, which for some of our students, getting out of that school mode makes it that much harder for them to get back in when they come back in the fall. So keeping them in that school mode, even if they took one course during the summer, might help some of our population. And then also the ability, obviously, to save time and money. So all of this came from Triton students out of this survey. But there are other things to keep in mind as well. Some of our students are neurodivergent learners, and they prefer or just work better in a modality when they are in a quiet space by themselves. They don't have to worry about everything that's taking place around them. It also has the potential to bring in new students because, again, when you have online offerings, you're not limited to the geographical area and you don't need to get in a car and go someplace. So it would open up the potential for new students to come into Triton. The top 5 schools that Triton students transfer to all offer online courses. Many of them also offer advanced degrees fully online. So by offering them here at Triton, we're actually increasing their chance of success when they leave us and go to a 4-year institution because they understand how to manage themselves online. And it also provides them with the opportunity to, again, practice digital skills. It allows all of us to stay current in our pedagogy and our instruction as well, which is great. Meet students with different modalities. And then, very importantly, it also addresses Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which tells us that we have to make sure that all individuals have the opportunity to participate in programming. So those are all the reasons why. Now we'll take a look at what do you need to do to get there here at Triton. The requirements here, everybody who is interested in developing an online course needs to complete either I shouldn't say either. You have to complete the online pedagogy training and the Blackboard training together, or you have to have a Master of Online Teaching certificate, something similar to ION. Triton is a member of ION, which is the Illinois Online Network run through the University of Illinois. So you can get discounted tuition to do that. But if you choose not to go this route, these 2 courses are free and they are offered here.
Is Real Tutorial Ultra Essentials, is that one that comes before that you have to do before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. And there it is, right there. So starting with the Blackboard Ultra, and that's the name of it, Ultra Teaching Essentials. This is in everybody's instance of Blackboard. Whether you ask for it or not, it's there. It is self-paced, so you can take it anytime you want. You can break it down and do it in chunks if you need to. There's a total of 5 modules, but there are 14 required lessons with quizzes. You have to have an 80% on every quiz or higher in order for it to pass. You're chuckling? You got a 73 on one?
So I did that, and I struggled a little bit with one section. And I've done Blackboard Ultra also.
Yeah.
I did the pedagogy, I just finished it.
You know, someday, and it's a bucket list of mine in the position, I would love to have some sort of opt-out, meaning you test out. We're not there yet. So for now, take your time. You can go back. Remember, it's unlimited tries. So if that one section, you just...
The test in the second one might have been easier for me, but I got full of those for some reason. But
some are worded.
The online pedagogy I can't talk today was difficult. We're librarians, and it's a little bit different for us.
Okay.
But I highly recommend doing remote. We all really enjoyed what we got out of it.
That's fantastic.
And
good to hear.
And we don't even teach online yet.
Yes.
We really still.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to anybody can take these, even if you decide I don't want to develop any courses right now. They're still great. I am also in the process of slowly making small updates to pedagogy. So as librarians, if there's anything that you think, would be helpful, please let me know. So the workflow is you take Blackboard anytime you want. You don't have to tell us that we are taking it. Laura works her voodoo magic, and she can see when people are ready to move on. And when you complete with 80% on all 14 of your quizzes, you'll receive a certificate of completion, and you'll receive, in most cases, an invitation to move on to pedagogy. Not everyone's ready to move on, so I would highly advise you, just keep these certificates somewhere in your personal files so you can get back to them. And then when you're ready and you want to get into the online pedagogy, you can email us and say, hey, put me in the next cycle. And then I'll tell you about the next cycle as well. So you have to complete the Blackboard Ultra section first. Once that's done, then you can get into the online pedagogy. It is a cohort-based program, 6 weeks of content. There are 8 total modules, but one's a welcome with basic structure, and one is we're wrapping up. So 6 weeks of content, all asynchronous. However, the difference with the online pedagogy, there are weekly deliverables. So you do have things that you have to address weekly, and discussions, assignments, quizzes, and a capstone. This is limited to a small set of faculty at a time. So just keep in mind when you're ready, you'll want to let us know as early as you can, fit it into your schedule. With the online pedagogy course, you need to hit 85% proficiency or higher on all of your work or assignments. And very similar, if something comes in, you can definitely go back and make tweaks to it. It's led by all of the staff here at Triton that lead the online pedagogy either have advanced degrees or have taken the certifications, like the ION certification as well. So as you can see, we just kicked off the second fall cohort. So the next cohort isn't going to open until the first week of February. So if you think you might be interested, make it a target to finish the Blackboard Ultra training prior to this. And then stick a note on your calendar, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ahead, saying, hey, email the CTE, I'd like to get into this course. And you can see we have one available in the summer. So some things that you need to know in terms of the requirements and what are in different bargaining agreements regarding online courses here. If you are a faculty member, if you are on a tenure track, you must be trained to teach online, meaning the Blackboard Ultra and pedagogy courses, before your 5th semester on the tenure track. If you are an adjunct faculty member, you have to take both Blackboard Ultra and online pedagogy within 2 semesters of teaching at Triton. You certainly can ask for an exception, but that should not be something that you continue to kick the can down the road. So keep that in mind. And you can see here, I do have the pages listed if you'd like to check out that language within your agreement. So the process, the protocol here, you got to start with the training. So Blackboard Ultra first, then online pedagogy. Once you complete that and you say, hey, I'd really like to get my course online, have a conversation with the chair and the dean of your school, because they are eventually going to have to sign off on it. Once that's done, you're going to see the online and hybrid course development proposal. I'll show you what it looks like in its current state. And there's a ton of different signatures that you need for that. So I'll walk you through that as well. Once everybody decides it's great, it's ready to go, you're ready to develop it, then what's going to happen is a course shell is going to be created for you in Blackboard. You're going to be assigned an instructional designer. Currently, right now, we have two, one part-time, one full-time here in the CTE, and they're going to help you and work with you to develop your course. Then we're going to give you a timeline, and I'll show you the timeline. You are going to submit it, and we have a peer review committee. That is a number of faculty members and other Triton staff that look through your course. I'll show you the metric that we use, and we'll say, this isn't quite what it needs to be. We'll kick it back to you. You make some recommendations in a short period of time, and then if we say, okay, this is good to go, this looks like it's ready to be launched, then what happens is you need to agree to a pilot the course online the first semester that it's offered. And then that's basically, again, you know, with a pilot, what's going to happen is at the end of that course, you're going to say, you know what, this worked great. This I think I might need to tweak. We're going to have some conversations with you for additional revisions so that when it goes out the semester after that, it's perfect.
Can courses be taught by multiple people together? That's hard to phrase. So say that two librarians wanted to teach a course together. Is that an option?
As of right now, it's not.
Okay.
It's something we could look into in the future if they were both trained.
Yeah.
But as of today, no.
Okay, thank you. Who's on the peer review committee? Where's that? Is there like a list somewhere that says who the members are?
Shelley, is that available somewhere online?
It's publicly available. Oh, that's a good point. Why can't you be publicly available?
But if the VIC 160 is going through the
Well,
peer review,
right.
I'm just curious who.
Yeah, who's on this? So this is a subcommittee of our online technology, the OETC, and there are, Nicole has mentioned, they're all online trained, but yeah, new faculty, online experts, so there's a number of them in science. We can give you
Okay, cool, yeah, I was just curious, I want to make sure that's like where it needs to be going first.
Yeah, we can check.
Cool, thanks, John.
Me.
Okay.
Start with me. Okay, so the online hybrid course proposal review form. This is what it looks like it's in its current state. You see the obvious things, the informational identifiers over here. You'll notice here that I have 6 week crossed out. Triton has an initiative that they'd like to move courses more toward 8 week. We understand there are some courses that do not fit neatly in an 8 week shell, but this will most likely eventually come off of this option. And if you need a 16 week course that's online, there'll be a box there to have a conversation with your dean and they sign off of it and so on. So basically what you're going to do, fill it out, indicate whether you're doing fully online or you want to do a hybrid as well. And then it's going to ask you a series of questions. So it's going to ask you, do you have the Master Online Teaching Certificate from ION? If you do, you're going to upload documents to show us that you do. If you don't, you're going to say no. Did you complete Triton's online training? This is, again, where you want to save your certificate showing that you successfully completed the online pedagogy course and the Blackboard course, because we're going to need to see your actual certificates. So make sure you keep those in a safe place. It's going to ask you if you've taught the course that you're developing before, if you've ever developed an online or a hybrid course, and also if you're going to be using publishers' content. It's also going to ask you if you're going to use open educational resources, OERs, so making sure that a vast majority of your course is unique and you are the author of that. not just that your entire course points out to everybody else. And then also if you're going to use your own materials. You'll see the questions number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have those in this table, in this document. It's page 3. It's basically, it's going to ask you, beyond being flexible, how is this going to meet student needs? What instructional strategies are you going to implement being online? Things like that, learning opportunities, you know, and so on. And then when you do submit this form, you also have to submit a syllabus for the modality that you're looking to teach in. So you would show like an 8-week syllabus that looks like it's for an online course or a hybrid course. Because one of the things going to happen is our instructional designer and a number of other people are going to go through it and just make sure it matches. You know, so you don't have a syllabus that says we're going to meet at, you know, Tuesday at 4, you know, face to face, but you're trying to teach an online course. So it's just to make sure things are lined up. And then here come all the signatures. You have to sign off yourself saying that you have, you know, filled this out. You've met with your chair and the instructional designer and the academic dean, and everybody is on board with you doing this. Then your chair has to sign off. Then the instructional designer, and eventually I will have to sign off. Then the academic dean will have to sign off on it. And then finally it goes all the way up to the vice president of academic affairs, who also signs it. So you see right now we kind of have a paper copy going because Triton doesn't have it set up where we can pass around those electronic signatures from person to person. So here's the rough timeline you should be concerned with. If you were looking to develop a course that you were going to pilot in the fall coming up, that process starts now. Now, these few at the top, these signatures for approval, you know, this isn't set in stone, but it should be happening very, very soon. Because essentially, what's going to happen is come January, you will have the opportunity to meet with the instructional designer to help you with your course. And then you are going to work on building your course, again, with check-in meetings with the instructional designer. And then our peer review process begins in March. So basically, you would get started. You would have until March to get everything ready to go to the peer review committee. You submit it to us mid-March. We review it. We kick it back. You make small tweaks, and they're very small tweaks. You know, and again, then it comes back to us again. We just verify that you've made the tweaks that you said. And then again, final peer review approval and notification goes to all of the pertinent parties. So that is if you were interested in piloting in the fall. You say, I can't get it together in the next month, let's go on to the next one. Then you should start thinking about it by June in order to pilot a course in the spring of 2026. So just keep that basically now November for 2025, around June if you were looking at 2026. And some things to know, and then we will take, I'll take questions after that. We use the Blackboard Exemplary Course Program rubric. This rubric is very similar to Quality Matters High Standard rubric. They're not identical, but they are very close. But this is the one that we take a look at and that the peer review committee scores your course off of. And again, this is just a few screenshots of some of the things. It's basically broken down into 4 areas, looking at course design, interaction, collaboration, assessment, and learner support. And then obviously ADA compliance as well. Some things to know, and again, these are listed page 64 if you are a faculty member in the bargaining agreement. As I mentioned earlier with the OER resources, the overall body must be originally developed by you. And then when you develop a course for Triton, it is co-owned by you as the developer and the college. Remuneration, you get an overload release time equivalent to the lecture hour equivalent of the course being developed, and $2,000 if you're a full-time faculty after it's completed and it's approved. And then faculty developer reaches the course, and again, remember this is, or teaches the course. This is version 1.0. This is the pilot year with a maximum of only 15 students to field test it. And then again, the payment for that is release time, credit hours, and if there are revisions that are needed to get it up to the point where it can be just kicked out, then you might receive an additional $700 stipend. I mentioned earlier they're designed in 8-week formats. Again, there are some exceptions, but we're trying very diligently to move away from those 16-week. That also is not, I can tell you, it's not unique to Triton. I teach for National Louis, Dominican, and Michigan State, and all three have 8-week online courses. Michigan State actually has 7-week courses, which is really tough, but they get it done. So this is not unique. This is the way education is moving. And then also in your Blackboard shell, there is a general template that again just provides a skeleton for you to work off with. You don't have to work with this particular template, but it's just to help you get started. Any other questions? Yes?
For the online course option, it says optional synchronous opportunity. So for an online class, it can't be where the instructor has a set time where the students come in through Blackboard, collaborate, and conduct class that way?
No. Yeah. You can say I have optional office hours, or you can pop in during these times, or you could say you're going to be required to work on a small group project, but you can't require the time.
Everyone is showing at this. Okay.
Where is that shell or that sample that you just mentioned?
This one?
Yeah. Is that?
Is it in everyone's instance, or is it only?
I'm trying to remember, yeah, is it, we will have to check it, or is it something that we have asked faculty to have? We can check.
Gosh, not a big deal. I just was thinking
Newbie.
that would be
Yeah.
so first.
Or we can add, certainly you can go in and whoever is instructor.
Okay.
Do you know, I hear you, but are there any discussions about a HyFlex option, especially if we're pushing 8-week formats and retention is a big deal?
I will answer from what I've heard on my listening tour so far, and what I know personally as somebody who's taught in higher education, graduate level. HyFlex is highly advanced. So as of right now, there are some departments that are utilizing it. I know continuing ed and adult ed have some HyFlex, but overall, it's not something that's being actively pursued because it's not for beginners.
Okay, so then maybe we're working with different definitions of that. HyFlex would allow for that, like if I had, so for instance, when the pandemic hit, I had a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class that I was teaching. I required my students to meet one of those sessions, like in a group dynamic, and then the rest of it was online. So
Okay.
that's what I was talking about for HyFlex.
Okay, so something like that, you could probably potentially put that under a hybrid model, and you can say for hybrid, one of these face-to-face is going to be on Blackboard at this time. That would be listed. HyFlex essentially means, so a good example of HyFlex would be if I gave you this presentation and you were my class, you had the option to either come in person that day or join it from home. You would receive the same instruction, the same activities, and you would not need to notify me. So it's basically the same course going on at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I just want to add real quick, for any modality to be approved, just like what Nicole shared, the 100% asynchronous and hybrid, it also has to go through an official process, just like anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if this is something, again, faculty want to propose as something for the college to explore, then it has to come through that approval process of our online committee to be the first one to look at. doesn't mean we can't explore, it's like, explore.
I'd love to see it get there. Again, our students learn differently than many of us learn. I'm a huge advocate for getting to them where they are. So, yeah. All right.
How do hybrid and high flex classes differ?
How
How
do
do they differ, hybrid versus
So,
high flex?
right, with a hybrid, if we have an 8-week course, I might say you're required to come to Triton week 1, week 3, and week 8, face-to-face. And the rest of the time, we're gonna meet online, or you're gonna go do this work on your own, online, and we're not gonna meet. And I'm gonna expect you to get your work in by Thursday at midnight and so forth. With HighFlex, essentially, it's running your course in real time, making it available in 2 different modalities. And the students decide on any given day, I missed the bus, I'm going to take this class from home. A lot of people tend to shy away from it, especially with younger learners, like freshman, sophomore type learners, because they're not all disciplined, and in some instances, some of the things I've heard so far is some faculty even saying we're really trying to push them to come here first. All right. Well, if you have any questions at any point, my contact information is on the handout. I'm available at any time. Drop in, say hello, or just come see me if you have any questions. Okay. All right. Thank you.